Say, kids, what time is it?
It's kind of like watching TV, but, in your car.
We're all moving targets.
We're all day to day.
I think, it's day to day.
We're all listed day to day.
And that's a pretty good way to kick off this dark side of the stream, day to day.
This one's going to be happier than the previous few.
God, you ain't kidding. We're talking about
on the
Jeff
previous
Epstein
ones, guys.
anymore. We're talking about, well, not to say, you know what, I will get into that, but it's not like Bobby Evans was that great of a guy if he's sitting there talking about how much he loves Roman Polanski, also a noted pedophile.
Yeah, right.
And he's just talking, and some of the words he uses to describe Roman Polanski, but he was talking about him like he was the best thing in the world. I'm like, hey, didn't this guy have some things to do with girls that were teenagers?
Is this the way this is going to go?
No.
It's Dark Side of the Stream. Today we are reviewing Joe's pick.
Yeah.
Which was, I liked it. It was a good pick.
The kid stays in the picture.
The kid stays in the picture.
It was.
It was an
really
older documentary, but it's good.
It felt good. And the reason you said you wanted to use it was because it was the first time they ever used rotoscope in a film?
Yeah, it was one of the first times that they used that because they didn't have a lot of film, so they just used his massive collection of photographs that he had. And
explain what rotoscope is for someone.
It's this kind of layering of pictures to make it look like they're almost three-dimensional and giving them depth.
I know the effect. I didn't know the name.
And
rotoscope, something I had last
week. That's
week,
the first one that actually used it. I think Ken Burns may have used it a little bit in Civil War.
It's very popular in a lot of documentaries.
But
nowadays.
now when you don't have film, it's the best way to eat time.
Extensively used, and the pictures move. It kind of
they move in a weird way. Like
gives you kind of a sense of movement, even though it's not. And when it came out, everybody's like, "Whoa, what is this?"
It's a classic Hollywood tale, though. That's for sure.
Yeah.
The kid stays in the picture.
Classic Hollywood tale.
Story of Robert Evans, Hollywood producer. He started out as an actor, actually, and then he sold women's slacks with his brother.
Well, and he was very smart because he did good. He said he was an actor and he was good looking, so he got some parts. But he right away said, he goes, I'm not a great actor, so I got to think of an exit strategy, which he did.
And he did, but then got discovered at the Beverly Hills Hotel pool by a woman.
Was in some movies.
Who said, you could be the guy who was like the agent of her husband or something like that, her husband's manager.
Started getting into that and
got picked up for that. And
it's like a lot of musicians that become producers, and they become huge successful producers. They didn't make it really as a musician, but they become huge producers. Paul Hill, guys like that.
Let's say this, though. He was set to start with because the company, when you said selling women's slacks, it was Anye, which is a huge company, was a huge company at the time. So he was pretty set. He didn't have to make movies.
And he was a good-looking dude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very good-looking guy.
He's free-rolling, man. He's free-rolling life.
Very good-looking guy. We'll get more into the kid stays in the picture. It's the dark side of the stream on 104.7.
Probably picture me wearing it, and somebody's going to put in 10 years when I run for office, somebody's going to pull that picture out.
Are you ever going to run for office? There's no way you could run for office.
Well,
what do you mean there's no way you could run for office?
I've been to his house, and when you open up the closet, skeletons just fall out.
Yeah, you can walk in the door, and there's skeletons around. They're not hidden in the closet. They are just everywhere out in the open. They're just, you can lay with them.
I want you to write a book, though.
No, I do really want to do that. And you know what, too? We're going to get too sidetracked by going this. But that thing that we talked about when we were briefly touched on the guy with the gun in a hotel room, the rock star, David Crosby in a hotel room.
Yeah.
That sparked an idea in my head for this movie. And it's literally... It keeps popping up more ideas.
You're going to be a screenwriter
I need to write this, but God, I do so many things. I can't take on more things.
It's too bad that Bobby Evans isn't alive still, because if he was, he'd probably want to produce your film.
Jay Stevens, Renaissance man.
Yeah, that's right.
About running for office, though. Mike did something like that once, right? And you said it sucked, right?
I worked in city government. Just I made a joke, and someone called my bluff, and so I said, you know what? I'll give it a shot. City government isn't for me. There's too much red tape. There's too much bureaucracy. It's just you can't. I got into it with the idea in the mid to late 20s that I could enact change.
Right.
That's what they say. Right. Go if you want to change something. Go be involved.
No,
doesn't work like that.
No,
man.
The system
doesn't work like that.
All right.
At least from my perspective.
What a message to send to the kids.
Yeah, kids.
Just give up. Don't even try.
Bob Evans in this documentary, he didn't give up.
No, he didn't.
No.
The way I love how he started this film off too, where he says, when it comes to a story, there are three versions: yours, mine, and the truth. And I think
and none of them are alive.
No, and that
none of them are alive.
Yeah.
Because everybody's perception is different.
And that's really set the tone for the documentary. And we got to get into it because he tells a story about how he gets discovered and then how he kind of fought Ernest Hemingway and a bunch of producers that didn't want him in that what is The Sun Also Rises or whatever that movie is.
Yeah, there was a scene in the movie that he was in, and the director or somebody said the kid stays in the picture. After they were talking about cutting him from the movie, and that's the title of his biography, an interesting book in and of itself, and then which the documentary is based on.
But that's how he got the idea, because he goes when that guy said that and everybody else was like, okay, that's the word. Kid stays in the picture. He goes, well, being the actor's not the guy. Being the guy that can say that's the job to have.
Yeah.
That's the guy to have. He's the top-notch dog. The actors ain't nothing.
Yeah.
So he moved into that line, producing and management. And
you see that so many times, especially in a city like Springfield, where people are like, everybody walks around and talks about who they know. I know that person. I know that. Oh, yeah, I know that guy. That guy's a buddy of mine. You want to be that guy. You want to be the guy that everybody says.
I know that guy.
I know
that's
that
Mike
guy.
the Intern, though.
That's Jay
everybody
Stevens.
knows
That's
Mike.
Westen.
No,
that's Mike the
me.
Intern. Everybody
Don't
knows.
start on that crap.
Everybody that I meet, they go, "Oh, you work for the Cave?" Yeah, I know Mike the Intern. Everybody knows Mike the Intern.
I did. I
That's just
actually.
because I like making friends.
I had
I know,
that.
me
the
too.
other, yeah, I know. I had that the other day, and a friend of mine, he said, "Could I reach out and talk to Mike?" And I said, "Sure." And Mike was like, "Yeah, I talked to him."
Yeah, I talked to him. Yeah, it's just a dude. I'm just a
Mike
guy.
and me are
We're
very
just
the
guys.
same that way. We're like
just dudes.
super outgoing,
Just dudes.
friendly
We
to
just like
everybody.
making friends. That's
Unless you cross us, then Mike the Intern will have a bone to pick with you. I'm a little more easygoing.
Hey,
Mike the Intern has no leeway.
Don't go shooting your gun just yet, bud. We got the whole subject of Grudge to talk about in my next documentary pick, which we won't get to now. The life of Bobby Evans, though, really interesting life. That home he had in Beverly Hills, gorgeous.
Fat pad, man.
Dude.
And
what did he say he paid for it? Like $275?
$275,000.
I mean, can you imagine how many millions of dollars that thing's worth now? Oh, my goodness gracious. We'll get to the love of his life next. The kid stays in the picture, Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Okay, Joe Weston,
That's
Jay
me.
Stevens, Mike the Intern, Dark Side of the Stream. We are discussing The Kid Stays in the Picture. A few weeks ago, we did a Rip It Apart Wednesday, and we were discussing Stevie Nicks' hold on men and how I just couldn't explain how she was able to. We decided it was witchcraft because yes, she was gorgeous and yes, she was talented. But man,
love spells on these
I
dudes,
think
right?
these dudes could not say they could have done better, but they could just have their pick of anyone they wanted.
Same with these Hollywood guys.
There's certain women out there that I think have, I mean, especially
Sultry,
especially
sextress.
powerful men have this kind of hold on, and I don't. I mean, Mia Farrow is somebody like that because she was totally, Frank Sinatra's girl for a long time.
Until she wouldn't leave the movie she was working on. They divorced her right during the film.
Yeah,
which is also a story in this documentary.
That's a pretty wild story in this documentary too. Yeah.
You ever seen Rosemary's Baby?
No.
You haven't seen it?
I'm
you should watch it
familiar with the
sometime.
name.
It's a good film, a good horror movie. I mean, it's more of a thriller than horror, but it's definitely interesting. Now, again, it's Roman Polanski, and I will never watch another one of his films again, but I have seen it. And
but you're trying to get me to watch it.
Yeah, I guess you don't.
It
I can
shows
just
up
tell
in
you
my
the story.
download history.
Honestly, dude, you could just Wikipedia the whole damn thing, and then you read the story,
I'm
and you're good to go.
man, I'm good.
Wasn't there a book too? I believe before there was a movie, they optioned it, so you
all
read
these,
the book.
all these things are.
Yeah,
Kid stays in the
Kid
picture.
stays in the picture. So we're talking about loves of life because obviously in this movie a great deal is done about his relationship with Ally McGrath, who starred in Love Story and then went on to star in The Getaway with a really good-looking actor, and we'll get to that in a minute. But you could tell, even all these years, they made this documentary early 2000s while he was still alive. He was still madly in love with her, and that was like he'd been married 7 times or something like that.
That was the one. Everybody's usually got that one that you always kind of like ponder. Man, what if
and
things
he
had
had
worked out?
like his choice of women really because he was a powerful Hollywood producer.
Well, and
so.
just in Hollywood in general, it's very hard to be married and. Because it's just the scene is so everybody fools around with everybody.
But he figured it
That's
out,
just the
and he
scene
knew
out there.
because after Okay, if you didn't already know this, Ally McGrath was married to Bobby Evans. She was working on The Getaway with Steve McQueen, who are arguably the biggest actor at the time. They start seeing each other, sleeping together. He figures it out, goes down there, tries to save it. It's too late. She's already moved on. She ends up marrying McQueen, and they stay together through most of the 70s, I believe. And even Steve McQueen said, right before he died from cancer, was like that she was the one that got away from him too. But Bobby Evans said it himself when he was flying back from Texas after trying to save it. He realized that the plane flight was literally only an hour and 40 minutes, and that he could have gone down there any time between when it was good and then when it got bad to try and work on it.
So wrapped up
but
in
he
movies,
never went to see
career.
her.
Yeah.
And the point I'm going to try to make here is, you're right, Jay. It could be hard for people in Hollywood to make a relationship work, but that's a cop out, because honestly, it doesn't matter if you're a big time Hollywood producer or you're cooking burgers at McDonald's. When you're in a relationship, you have to work on it if you want it to work.
Yeah. See, people
He
get
didn't
wrapped
do
up.
that. He got caught.
Wrapped up in their careers, wrapped up, and you're doing this.
Exactly.
I'm here, they're there, and we'll touch base tomorrow.
And that's fine.
Yeah,
and that's fine if that's what you want to do, if that's your goal. But if you want to be with someone and you want to be in a relationship, you got to work on it. And he obviously didn't do that.
She was the it girl at the time, Ally McGraw.
I don't get it, man.
She
Yeah,
was.
I don't see it
made-
either.
she
I
made
don't see it
Love
either.
Story with Ryan O'Neal, which was a huge film.
I
And she was it.
I just don't
For a
get
moment,
it.
for a heartbeat, for a second.
Joe's my it
It's
girl.
not really my girl. That's just not really.
Really?
Yeah, you're
So
my
pre-
it
you
girl,
say
Joe.
that.
Joe is the it girl.
Yeah.
It
He
guy.
just doesn't put
I'm
enough
that
effort.
girl.
He doesn't put enough effort into our relationship, though.
So
So I
there's the
have to
next
stray.
screenplay.
No, it's
We
you. It's
read-
you. You care about your career more than you care
I
about
do,
me. So
I
I'm
do,
leaving
I
you for
do.
Mike.
Since
Mike's Steve McQueen in this story.
God, we just completely came out and everything right here on the air.
Since Hollywood
it just
is-
turned into a Dr. Phil episode quick.
Since Hollywood is so
Dr.
enamored
Filler.
with remaking everything, we'll just make the next screenplay a remake of Love Story with Joe and Jay.
The three of us?
No, just you two.
Oh, you
I'll
have-
direct it and write it.
You have to be
guys,
the pivot man.
I want to be
You have
behind
to
the
pivot.
scenes.
I have pictures of you two laying on the floor on top of each other.
That's
See?
another
You're
story
in.
for another time.
This kid stays in the picture.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's right.
both you kids.
He knows our skeletons. Dark Side of the Stream next on 104.7 The Cave. Talking Hollywood excess now. Dark Side of the Stream. We were discussing The Kid Stays in the Picture. If you haven't seen this documentary put out in, I believe it was 2002, the adaptation of the book about film producer Robert Evans, kind of notorious in the Hollywood scene, produced The Godfather.
I think he's had more. They said he has had more hits than anybody else or whatever over his 30-year career. Like,
Yeah, but then if you look at the dives.
right? Well, he even got bumped off the lot, and they wouldn't. Well, he got involved in a bad cocaine deal and stuff. And
Yeah,
like,
someone said if anyone ever offers you pharmaceutical grade cocaine, it's a trap and don't do it. That's the lesson.
yeah, I guess that's the trap.
That's what he was talking about. He goes, that's because it was kind of like one of those things.
He
where it was
goes,
a
how
myth.
could I be so
How
stupid?
could-
Right?
I know, it's a myth. Again, it's one of those things where he claimed that he had sciatic nerve pain and he was with some naked girl one night and she said, "Here, try this," and that's all it took.
One sniff, and he was
One
a
sniff
changed
and he
man.
was in, but it really wrecked him. He was kind of booted out of the Hollywood scene in the 80s. 80s were tough for him. 80s were tough for a lot of people that rode it high in the 70s.
He even says something in there about all his cronies, and he's like reflecting back, and he's like, "Did some retire? Maybe." He's like, "I haven't seen him," and he's like,
Yeah.
"It's something like." It was a crazy time.
It was
to
a
make
crazy
it through
time.
those crazy times.
And then he
you know?
got implicated in the murder of that guy. They
Right, that
called
was
it the
a
Con
weird
Club
part,
murder.
too.
It was basically some chick that knew him that introduced this guy to him, and she wanted a finder's fee for introducing. He didn't do it. Supposedly stole some cocaine from her, and she killed the guy. But just because they were saying that she used the connection with Robert
Throwing
Evans,
his
he
name
was
around,
somehow
that's-
he
yeah.
got thrown around into
Just
this.
like if
even though
somebody did that with Mike the Intern.
Yeah, it had nothing to do
there
with
was a
it.
murder, and
Yeah.
the guy's like, "Oh man, it was because of Mike the
I
Intern."
was going to Mike's house. Yeah, then I'm in it, and that's just the way it
Yeah.
is. And
because
that's
you're the one who's known.
He bottomed out really hard.
He did hard, but it also is a great lesson here where, I am a big proponent of the saying, do not burn bridges, because you never know where you're going to be and when you're going to need help.
Yeah,
and I, like I said, go back to what we said. I like making friends. Anytime I can keep bridges intact, that's what I want to do. Not just here, just in my personal life in general. And it was a good thing that he did that, because after kind of getting booted out, one of the guys that he had helped out years before was now a big guy at Paramount and brought him back in, gave him his old office, let him be a part, and then went on to do a number of movies in the
More
90s,
hits,
some good ones. I always like The Saint.
Jack Nicholson helped him out.
The House. That was another story. That's great. Do you want to tell a story?
No, go ahead.
I mean, would you go to France for me to save my house and beg someone to save my house?
Yeah, I would.
All right, thanks. I do the same
Yeah,
for you guys.
yeah.
So if Jack Nicholson, Bobby Evans were good friends, and in the middle of all this depression and stuff, for some reason, Evans sold this house that he had bought for $275,000 and sold it to this guy, but then decided he wanted to stay there and pay $25,000 a month of rent. And couldn't do that. So his buddy Jack Nicholson got on a plane, flew to France, found this dude, and got on his knees and begged him to sell it back to him. And the guy was like, okay, I guess if you're Jack Nicholson and this means so much to you, it's not going to mean anything to me. It's just property for me.
Right.
So I'll, what is what it is, and did it. And that's where he lived the rest of his life.
So crazy, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
because that house almost became him.
Yeah, it
in a
was.
sense,
Yeah. And you could tell that's kind of how he viewed it. It was part of his motif, his aura, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're looking for not seriously,
Let's,
I mean,
let's
there's some
stop
tough
for a second
stuff.
though. Let's stop for a second though and talk about Bob Odenkirk.
Oh,
because
and his
Bob
his
Odenkirk
impression?
does a wonderful impression of Bob Evans,
Yeah.
and also has based a famous character.
Yeah,
on
the
Bob
Saul,
Evans.
Saul character and
Yeah.
his I want to say he had a tenacity to him, but it wasn't. He was disarming, but at the same time, you could tell he was tenacious.
Yeah.
Because he made no bars about that he would I
Just
fired
very
him, I fired
charismatic.
him,
Very charismatic.
yeah, but you
From
could
both
tell that
ends.
he definitely got into it with Coppola and Polanski and everybody else. But like he was also disarming too. You know what I mean? And maybe
like him.
and that's a story.
When you watch that documentary, you like him. You know he probably did some stuff that you aren't going to like, but you like him.
Yeah,
When you watch that documentary.
charismatic guy, he gets you real far in life,
It really is.
What he did.
So yeah, check it out. I would give
The kid stays in the picture. We
I
give
this
a thumbs up.
I
That's
give
what
it
we should
a
probably
four-
at the end of these
four-
give a rating.
Yeah, we kind of forgot to do that. the
Thumbs?
last
Are we
one.
doing thumbs
Yeah.
then?
You want to do two?
Like-
thumbs?
Better than 27 dresses.
Yeah, 2 thumbs.
So this one,
Two
this one,
thumbs
yeah,
up.
It's 2 thumbs up.
I had 2 thumbs up.
Some
for
of the
this
other
one.
ones not so
That was
much.
a great
but yeah, it was
suggestion.
good.
we
Thank
needed
you.
we needed a
And
nice
I never would have
break.
watched it. I never would. And disclaimer, it's on Amazon, but you have to rent it for like $1.99. So I
But
just
it's worth
decided to say disclaimer. So I wouldn't have spent the $1.99 on this one, but I'm glad I did.
Good film.
It was a nice breather after the previous week's.
That I brought some
episode.
darkness into the
But I'm
family.
going to take you guys back to the
Oh, I
darkness.
got plenty of dark rabbit
Oh,
holes.
I'm going to take you
I got
back
plenty
to
of
the
dark
darkness.
rabbit hole documentaries.
Bros,
What are we watching?
so I had a plan to do what my next one was going to be, Once We Were Brothers, the documentary about the band, because I love the band, and it's huge. It just came out. I believe it's on Hulu or Netflix, one of the two. But then over the weekend, I was kind of getting bored. We're mashing through Star Trek right now, and I kind of needed a break through Star
Mike's
Trek.
weekend and my weekends are very different.
Mine's filled with vinyl and Star Trek, and Jay's glitter and sweat.
He has vinyl in his weekend too.
Oh yeah, sometimes different kind of vinyl though.
Different vinyl
sticks
pants,
to
vinyl
your
pants.
legs. So I came across this documentary called Tread, and I had heard about this guy, and basically it's a story about a man.
No, we don't want to hear any spoilers.
Oh, I don't want to spoil it.
No.
No spoilers.
The name is Tread. That's good enough for
All
me.
right, Tread.
I like to go into documentaries
Tread.
not knowing.
Tread.
I don't read nothing. I
It's
just
about-
go.
it's
I
about-
look and I go, this title, okay, I'll click this one.
You
Boom.
think I can hold a grudge? You have no idea about a grudge.
All right.
And you watch.
Where is this? Where's Tread to be found?
Netflix.
Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tread on Netflix.
No
Watch it.
secret surcharge on this one?
No.
Are we posting these on Facebook?
Yep.
Perfect.
Get in the thing.
Get in there, watch it so you can be
converse with
part of the
us.
conversation.
Do the conversation and
and so we don't spoil it for you.
and make sure and get your tread on for next week, guys. I will see you then.